I'm going to start 11, verse 1. Now the whole earth used the same language and the same words at this time. There's only one language.
Yeah.
It came about as they journeyed east that they found a plain in the land of Shinar and settled there. They said to one another, "Come, let us make bricks and burn them thoroughly." Okay. And the reason why they said that is bricks used to be sun dried. So here they're saying, let's make them, burn them thoroughly to make it happen faster. The people already are being inventive. Okay. Let's make it happen faster. And they would use brick for stone and they used tar for mortar. They said, "Come, let us build for ourselves a city into a tower whose top will reach into heaven. And let us make for ourselves a name. Otherwise, we will be scattered abroad over the face of the whole earth." Okay. So now they're saying, we're going to build ourselves a city all going up to heaven. But the Lord came down. Listen, he came from heaven. He came down to see the city and the tower, which the Son of Man had built. And the Lord said, "Behold, they are one people, and they all have the same language." And this is what they began to do.
Yep.
And now nothing that they will purpose to do will be impossible for them.
Mm-hmm.
So God says, "Come, let us," who's us? The Trinity. "Let us go down and there confuse their language so they will not understand one another's speech."
Yeah.
Brilliant plan of God. So the Lord scattered them abroad from over all the face of the earth, and they stopped building the city. They did build the tower, but not the city. Therefore, its name was called Babel. Babel is short for Babylon. Okay, Babel means a gate to God. Okay, but God changed its meaning to a gate to confusion.
Yep.
All right. So from there, the Lord scattered them abroad the face of the earth. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about Babel. It's, I know, this is a hard thing for people to get, but when you study it and the history, they have so much history on it now. Okay.
Yeah.
So Nimrod created this tower to reach heaven. All right. Man is always trying to reinvent ways to reach God. You see, God, he's trying to find a different way to get to God by building this tower to get to heaven.
Mm-hmm.
God said there's only one way to get to me.
Yeah.
Only one way. And and religions are always trying to build a different way to get to God. And that's what Nimrod did. He created a Tower of Babel to reach towards the heaven. This represents the beginning of satanic worship. I don't know if you've ever studied it, but that's what this represents. The tower was dedicated to the heavens with signs of zodiac, the planetary bodies, portrayed as visible objects of worship. They had one form of religion at this time. Pride made them want their names to be known. In verse 4, the Bible says they may reach or will reach. However, there are no words in the Hebrew to suggest the height as high as it was to get to heaven. There's no words, okay? The meaning is that the top would be dedicated to the heavens. The signs of the zodiac were portrayed as visible objects to worship at the top of the building. 3 commentaries agree on this. Willington's commentary states archaeological evidence suggests that the Tower of Babel was in reality a building given over to astrology or to the heathen worship of the heavens. Among the ruins of ancient Babylon is a building 153 feet high with a 400-foot base, constructed of dried bricks, which they were making, in 7 stages to corresponds with the 7 known planets at that time. They dedicated it to. The lowermost was black, the color of Saturn, the next orange for Jupiter, third red for Mars, and on and on. On the top of these stages were the signs on the zodiac. Dr. Barnhouse wrote that it was open, definite turning to Satan and the beginning of devil worship. This is why the Bible everywhere pronounces a curse on those who consult the sun, the moon, and the stars. We don't pray to the sun, the moon, and the stars. God created them for us to have light, to give us day, to give us night, but we don't pray to them. And I know a lot of people that pray to the moon. They love their, isn't the moon That's New Age stuff. That's not God. Anything that's not of God is satanic. Okay. Info on the Tower of Babylon, a little information. All of that, a Babylon description of the tower discovered in 1876 indicates that there was a grand court, 900 by 1156 feet, a smaller one, 450 by 1056 feet, inside of which was a platform that with walls having 4 gates on each side. In the center stood the tower with many small shrines at the base dedicated to various gods. On the top platform was a sanctuary for the god Bel Merodach. That's BEL-MERODACH, and signs of the zodiac. The tower was finished eventually, but not the city. Don't play with the horoscopes or the zodiac, nor anything to do with Satan's things. God says, flee from witchcraft.
Yeah.
Like we have to be so careful we don't get involved with any of Satan's things, because Satan's out to what? Steal, kill, and destroy your life. That's what he wants to do. Steal, kill, and destroy your life. But you see what happens here. Babel, all right, I'm going to say Babel means God, and they changed it, okay, because of that. What are you building for yourself?
Yeah.
Are we trying to build a church? We are the church, by the way.
Yeah.
Are we allowing God to build the church? Or are you trying? Are you trying to build a name for yourself? Listen, I said to Barry today, if nobody watches this whole thing, I am still doing what God called me to do.
That's true.
I'm not trying to build a name. I'm just trying to be obedient to God.
Yeah.
Right?
And I find it challenging as well, because there is temptation to but in reality, I have to keep learning each and every day to trust God, to get the word out, and then hope that people will share and all that stuff.
Right.
But it's really had to be done to the glory of God and let Him do, which is easier said than done.
Right. Now, yesterday I was teaching, I think it was Tuesday. I was teaching on Exodus to a class, and I said to them, it says here that God came from the heaven, and told Moses, I see the cry of my people, and I want to help them and set them free. And I said, but who did that? He sent Moses to do it.
Yeah.
Like God will tell us to do something, but what he does is he just uses human beings to work what he wants done, and who gets the glory?
God.
Always.
Oh,
Never take the glory for yourself.
Yeah.
No, it's not worth it. And what's the glory anyway? All I want to do is go and dwell in his place in heaven. That's all I want. I said that to him today when I was praying this morning. I said, God, more than anything, more than the anointing, more than this, more than that, I want your presence.
Yes.
There's nothing more important than God. Nothing more important than God.
Oh, yeah.
But we got to be careful. We don't play with what Satan's trying to do to us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Verse 5 states that the Lord came down and looked at this, and men rule, but God overrules. I wanted to say that God overrules this stuff. Okay. The Tower of Babel, God separated. Okay. Separated. And then we talk here about the descendants of Shem. Okay. And he talks about the descendants of Shem, and 2 years after the flood, Shem lived 500. I think this is interesting. 500 years after he became the father of other people. Okay. We have to realize that we are all part of one of these three. We came from one of these three men.
Yeah.
Right. Now I want to go to I do want to give you this note that when I did this, when I studied this at that time, Millet and Cohen in Language of the World says there were 6,760 different types of tongues and systems of writing in the world. 6,700. It's more than that now. I know it's more than that. But isn't that interesting that how many languages there are now? Okay. Satan had the tower, but God had the victory.
Yep.
God still always gets the victory no matter what. So we get to verse 24, and there's this guy born, Nahor, and he lives 29 years and becomes the father of Terah.
Yep.
Nahor lived 100 years and 19 years after he became the father of Terah and had other sons and daughters. Terah lived 70 years and became the father of Abram.
Yep.
Okay. Now, these are the records of these generations, okay? I just want to read this. Terah becomes the father of Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Haran became the father of Lot. Haran died in the presence of his father Terah in the land of birth, the of the Chaldeans.
Yeah.
Now, I want you to know this was all forced religion. Was not a good, godly land. It
No.
was a land where they had false gods and idols, okay?
Yep.
That's where Abraham was born.
Yeah.
In this land. I want you to understand that. It doesn't matter where we come from.
Yep.
God can take any one of us and change it. I love it. Simon, you're not going to be Peter. You were wishy-washy, now making you rock. Paul, Saul, now you're going to be Paul. You're going to be the greatest missionary that ever lived.
Oh, yeah.
How many times did he change names in the word? Because he
Yeah.
wanted to make a statement of who you're going to be, who I
Yep.
want you to be,
Oh, yeah.
God can change us. I always look at Esther, and I'm not going to talk about that, but I look at her. She was a nobody. She was an orphan.
Yeah.
She had her uncles raising her.
Oh, yeah.
And let me tell you something. We think, well, so Esther was an orphan. Well, let's talk about human life. Esther must have been really sad and had issues because she had no mother and father. Think about it. People, you know what I'm saying? So, but God took Esther and saved the entire Israel, Jewish
Oh, yeah.
race. God can take any one of us, and
Yeah.
change us and use us. And that's what I wanted to say about, the land of the Chaldeans.
Yeah. Terah took that family with Lot and Abram
Yes.
and all that and went, and he didn't go all the way to where God stopped. Oh, and there's a little bit of actually a very related side note and it's going to show up later.
Okay.
Boy, they're going to cause a problem. Sarah or Sarai.
Yes.
Sarai is Abraham's half sister.
Half sister. That's right. You're absolutely right. You're right. Half sister. Right. So when Abraham lied about her, he said he was half lying. But let me tell you, a half lie is 100% lie.
Yeah. He did it twice,
that's
actually,
really
but oh
interesting.
boy.
That's it. But remember, they didn't have all the genetic problems that we have today.
No.
So they did do that. So Terah took Abram, his son, and Lot, the son of Haran, his grandson, and Sarai, his wife, daughter-in-law, his son's wife, and they went out together from of the Chaldeans in order to enter the land of Canaan, and they went as far as Haran and settled there. The days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Okay, so he took his family, and they're leaving which was really prophetic because God was calling Abraham out of He wanted Abraham for his heart, man after my own heart. He's my best friend. He calls him a friend in the word. Abraham's the only one he called a friend. And he says, I have decided I am taking that man and I'm going to take him out of idol worship and his family, and I am going to create this awesome, mighty man of God.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna create Israel with him. I mean, isn't that amazing? He created Israel with him. So I just want to go over a couple names here. Adam to Enosh to Methuselah to Noah to Shem to Abraham to Jacob to Joseph to Jesus.
Yep.
Isn't that amazing? God destines our times and locations for such a time as this. There's that scripture. I don't know if I have it written down anywhere, but it's in Acts. It says God plans where we're going to live. And the days of our lives, when we're going to be born. He plans that. Like he didn't make us be born 100 years ago or 100 years from now. He chose us to be living for such a time as this in our life. He knew when you were in your mother's womb, I don't care what attacked you, but when you were in your mother's womb, God knew your destiny and purpose. That he was going to be using you like this.
Yeah.
So, we know that, and it's amazing how God knows our destinies, our times, where we live, the time we're living, even our neighborhoods where we live.
Oh yeah.
He
yes. I could have a little bit of fun with my neighborhood where I live. Technically, where I live, when I was growing up, this place was the boondocks. I mean, isolated out there, and basically almost the middle of nowhere.
Wow.
I did not know about a couple of neighbors yet.
Yeah.
And when I was told, "Bev, get ready to move out to that town that's out in the boom," I'm like,
Right.
"What? Anything good?" Well, actually, I'm happily more connected here, and I can't drive. I have more.
Oh yeah, you don't. Yeah, you don't drive. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay, but you're surviving. You're doing well, right?
Well, that's with God's grace and
I
His
know.
help and all
Right.
those other fun
Right.
things.
Yep.
And you're doing wonderfully too.
Yep.
Yes, you had the unfortunate problem with a church burned down, and that, and yet you're doing far more now, I bet, than what you did before. It, you have
I'm
to
very
thank
yeah, I'm
God.
very busy. We're very busy. And I just like, well, my son said to me, Mom, if you retired from pastoring, what would you do? And I said, oh, I'd probably look for ministry. I mean, what
Uh-huh.
else is there in life but to serve God? I
Yeah.
mean, that's why he's called me, but I don't know what else there is in life but to serve God. That's
Hmm.
that's all I want,
Yeah.
to serve God. So
Yeah.
so this chapter ends with
Yep.
Abram, you know, becoming one of the greatest men of God that ever lived. Through
Hmm.
his loins, the Jewish people and the Messiah comes forth.
Yep.
So
Oh
so
yeah.
that's chapter 10. And there's a lot of this one is part of this person, that person. So, but now it's going to really start getting really good. Chapter 12.
Oh yeah.
It
All
really
right.
does.
I would like to thank you for watching this ongoing series of study on the book of Genesis. I hope you're enjoying things so far. Now, get ready for the more interesting stuff. We'll soon be doing the study on Abraham, starting off with Abram, and all the way on through the rest of the book of Genesis and beyond. So I'd like to thank you again and want to encourage you to subscribe so that way you'll get notified when chapter 12 becomes available. And please check the playlist. It will have it will get you caught up to date on all the videos related to Genesis. Thank you. Hope you have a blessed day. See you when I see you.